And finally, political ecology suggests a project of creating new compositions of forces. Stephen Mukey reminds us that politics is a matter of alliances, and he calls for a criticism without judgment, which would be a mode of criticism that is about, and I quote, establishing real relations and robust pragmatic connections across an array of different modes of existence. To be clear, this is not a matter of simply going with the flow, but rather of recognising that to influence the unfolding of things, one cannot assume a position outside of their unfolding. Can we use philosophical concepts to engineer connections across different practices and different modes of existence? And if so, how? Can we imagine a mode of criticality in which the role of critical policy scholars would be to use concepts and to develop new problematisations as engineers of unfolding policy contexts, a role that Deleuze describes as that of the mediator? And could the concept of policy ecology help us to engineer what Wanda has called for as more relational ways of engaging in policy contexts? Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Is this all right? Just like Sam, I'd like to thank Wanda for that lovely paper. I'd also like to thank Sam for your contribution, and also Amy and Cal for this opportunity to talk here today. Thinking about how to respond to Wanda's paper, I considered 4 things. First, I wanted to call attention to some of the contested discourses of scientificity at play in and around the discussion of education policy research. Secondly, I wanted to call attention to the social practices at work here today, in this space, the spectacle of the lecture, if you like. Thirdly, I wanted to find a way to enact rather than describe or defend a transgressive or destabilizing post-structural research practice. And fourthly, I needed to do this within the 20-minute time limit that the organizers had given me. And this 4th task proved the most difficult by far. Anyway, so I decided to present to you an ethnographic play. An ethnographic play is a form of research writing which follows the ethnographic tradition of generating data, or creata, as I like to call it, through observations of and conversations with the particular natives in question. And my natives for the past 15 years have been academics in the social sciences. Presenting research findings through a play is a strategy that, to put it very briefly, underscores the performative work of knowledge creation and knowledge sharing, and the role of both the author and the reader or audience. Drawing on the genre of play means deliberately invoking a literary tradition which has other ambitions than to provide absolute truth or any other form of certainty. The play, as you can see, is called This is Wissenschaft, or This is not Wissenschaft. And Wissenschaft means science in German. And it is in 3 acts. It is written for performance, but as we could not engage actors here today, I decided to read the play for you. The play involves a cast of 12 speaking parts. We have a keynote speaker called Dr. Karen Smith, a moderator, an audience member, and 9 different conference delegates. There's also a large number of extras involved, about 250 conference delegates. Each act will be supported by a slide that shows the order of speakers so that you can know who is talking and imagine me changing shape accordingly. I am not an actor, so I can't do voice changes and things like that. So, you need to help me there and imagine things. I will also need to read some of the instructions for the director that set the scenes and stipulate the nonverbal. I haven't tried this before, so hopefully it will work. So we start with the instructions. We are in a large university lecture hall. There are banners at each side of the elevated lectern at the front of the room that display the title of a social sciences conference. The title is modern, but not audacious. People are sitting in rows upon rows facing the lectern. The room is relatively quiet apart from the voices that come from the person standing at the lectern speaking into the microphone. Dr. Smith. In conclusion, I would like to reiterate that collective biography as a post-structural research practice is a wonderful way of gaining access to the stories people live by within and against education policies, and in doing so creating knowledge of the ways in which subjectivities come to be and come to matter in contemporary society. There's a slight pause. She looks up from the paper and says, "Thank you very much for your time." Now the instructions. The audience clap. Some enthusiastically, some less so. There are even a few not clapping at all, but who instead raise eyebrows